had spent so many years humbling myself, making myself small, being the emotional glue for everyone around me.
You used to feel grounded. You knew your place. Now, you're constantly second-guessing yourself, trying to do more, prove more, hold more, all while feeling like you're somehow still not enough. You shrink parts of yourself to avoid conflict, but then you wonder why you feel so invisible. So you take on more, be more, do more, but then you're too much. You walk on eggshells, questioning your words, your gut instincts, your own worth, and if someone were to ask you what you want in life, you wouldn't even know, because it's your job to know what everyone else wants. That's become your place in life. And then it hits you. You've been performing a version of yourself for so long, you forgot what it feels like just to be you. And that woman in the mirror, she's waiting for you to remember.
Have you ever looked in the mirror and thought, who even am I anymore? You used to feel confident, grounded, like you knew your place in the world. Maybe it was a breakup, a sudden job loss, betrayal, or just living in survival mode for too long. Or maybe all four of them.
I know I found myself walking down the red carpet to get my award for all four.
For me, it wasn't any obvious yelling or criticism or abuse that made me lose my confidence. It was years of confusion from not feeling emotionally safe that made me continuously second-guess myself until I could barely recognize my own voice. I remember in marriage counseling one time, she asked him, "What do you do with the voice in your head that asks you, how would Jessica feel about this?" And he said, "I don't have that voice."
Wait, what? Hold up. I didn't even realize the weight of that moment until years later. The person I gave my heart, my energy, my whole life to didn't even have a voice in his head that considered how I felt. And no one, not even my therapist, paused to say, "Wait, this is a big deal." But it was, because if someone can say that out loud, you can only imagine what their actions were like. And this isn't about blaming him, because the real question isn't, why was he like that? It's, why did I stay? Why did I stay for years in a relationship that didn't see me, didn't hear me, didn't even care how I felt? That question became one of the most important parts of my healing journey.
And directly after my divorce, it was such a traumatic time that I didn't even realize that I had lost myself. I was so busy trying to figure out what happened, blaming myself, trying to see what I needed to fix about myself. And I had no idea at that time that I had completely lost myself, and finding myself was going to be the answer. Because when you're somewhere where you don't feel safe to be yourself, you don't always even realize that that's what's happening. And I have this one memory that I look back on realizing how lost I had become. After I got back up on my feet and I started dating again, I was having a get-to-know-you discussion with someone that I was freshly dating. And I remember sitting there and listening to all of his stories with his brothers and his growing up and all of the experiences he had. And I kind of just sat there silent because I didn't have any stories. At least all of my stories, my good stories, were during my marriage, and they weren't really even about me. And looking back, it wasn't even true that I didn't have any stories. I had shown horses growing up. I had volunteered at the zoo, and I worked my way from the aquarium to the marine mammal exhibit, where I got to swim with the beluga whales. And my family owned a landscaping business, and I started a nursery with greenhouses. And my family growing up owned an RV, and we drove from Washington all the way down into Mexico. I had tons of stories from that. But I had spent so many 20 years humbling myself, making myself small, being the emotional glue for everyone around me, that I didn't even carry those stories with me anymore. And moments like that show that I hadn't just lost my confidence, I had completely disconnected from myself. Rebuilding my confidence didn't happen overnight. It was a slow, intentional journey. But I think it all started because I was trying to fix myself, because I thought something was wrong with me. And it sent me on this road to self-discovery. And therapy really helped. Divorce shoves you into a new world of doing things by yourself, doing things you never thought you could do, going places alone, making decisions without permission. It all helped me rebuild my trust with myself.
Confidence is really simple. It's all about finding your way back to her, or maybe finding her for the very first time. And her is you. So the best part of this is you already have everything you need for this journey, because you have you.
So, if you found yourself in the place too, where you've completely lost your confidence when you didn't even see it going, or maybe you don't feel like you ever had any confidence, start learning about yourself, whether it's through therapy, listening to podcasts, finding someone on YouTube. Those types of things can really help you to feel your power again. And as you're getting to know yourself again, be kind to yourself. When you wake up in the morning, grab your cup of coffee, look yourself in the eyes, and give yourself a little cheer in the mirror with your coffee cup. Something else I like to do is write a positive affirmation about something for the day
And put it up on my mirror so I can see it as I'm getting ready for the day, and then again as I'm getting ready for bed.
Being confident feels so good, and it's a completely different way of living after shrinking yourself for so long. Rebuilding starts with remembering who you are and learning to be proud of that woman again. If this spoke to you, please hit subscribe. I've got so much more coming for women who are healing and rebuilding and remembering who they really are.
The world will tell us that confidence comes from the outside, from the job, the clothes, the body, the relationships, the money. But real confidence, the kind that lasts, the kind that glows from your eyes and softens your shoulders, that comes from within. It's not about becoming someone else. It's about coming home to yourself, to your voice, to your worth, to the truth that you were never broken. You were just buried beneath expectations, pain, and pressure. When the inside is aligned, everything on the outside begins to shift. I can't promise it will happen all at once, but I can promise you're in the right place to make your first steps. And even before you find yourself completely, you're still whole, you're still radiant, you're still enough. The journey doesn't start from a glow up on the outside. We already know we can do all that. But this journey begins within. Thank you so much for watching my video. And if you want to go a little deeper, check out the link in my description. I put together a beautiful, simple mindset guide to your first 7 days of finding your way back to you. Oh, and it's free. Do I even need to say that? See you again soon.